Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. The 21st of December, and we've got a sell-off on our hands. This is, wow. I mean, I wake up every morning and I start reading my news and my news briefings and everything. So I know that we were down, but I don't really get a chance to really look at the charts until I sit down here with you guys. And it is bad. Just look at that E-mini right there. Oh, whoa. We touched 3,600. What? That is that. Wait, what was last Monday? The 14th? We are basically going to open below the previous week's low. We had a fairly good week last week. That is nuts. That is a big down move. So what's the driver here? Well, I think the big thing is that the UK has found a new variant of the coronavirus, which is more contagious, and they are now shutting down their economy to prevent the spread of the new variant. Also, Brexit still not happening, and it's kind of to the point now where it's like kind of almost too late. I don't know. So there's concerns on the Brexit front. Okay, so as a result of all of this, let's see here. Treasury's up a little bit higher. Remember last week we were saying, man, somebody was bidding up treasuries. What's the cause of all of this in through here? Well, they have to be happy today, right? Not that they could have known that a lockdown was coming, but good grief. Okay, oil. Whew. Oh wait, now that chart has got to be wrong. We probably need to roll over. Okay, that's a little bit better. Still, whew, man, oil getting killed as well. Ugly move in oil. Gold taking the hit. Copper taking the hit, which means dollar's going to be up. Ooh, up big time, back above 90.5, in fact, even. So does that mean also that our friend over here, the coins of bit, yes, down just a little bit, actually. It's not too bad. I really think they could have way more to come. I mean, back to 2000 at least in Bitcoin. They're trying to maintain it, but we'll see if they're able to. I would caution in Bitcoin, by the way, the rise, like the amount of money that was required to make it rise to where it is was not that much. So be careful about that one. Because on one hand, that means that there might be some more money out there willing to get into it. But on the other hand, it also means that it wouldn't take a lot for it to come back down. Okay, we're getting getting Chicago Fed National Activity Index here. It's 0.27 versus a previous reading of 0.83. So numbers a little bit less. I'm going to come in here and turn on the text to speech. Man, my nose is not like runny, but it feels runny. I don't know what the deal is. I'm going to try blowing my nose here in a second. So what do we do? Man, this is kind of a tough situation just because it's been such an ugly downturn. And do you want to buy it now? I don't know, but we're going to kind of watch it. I'm not expecting to be hyper successful this week. You can remember we're having a sell-off here, but then, you know, Thursday, Friday is Christmas basically. So kind of have a holiday week. I don't know. This could be a really weird week. I should note that the liquidity on the inside in the ES is pretty light. It's actually quite light. Its treasuries are okay, but it's just a little light. So we should watch that. There's a little bit of a bubble there. I don't know. I mean, I think that we're going to be okay, but you got to remember that tops are like a process, right? Like if something good happens, it's like people just buy and they buy, right? But, you buy it and then something bad happens and you're down and people don't necessarily freak out right away, right? It kind of takes a series of events to get to people to the point where they're like, well, crap, I'm screwed, So we're kind of like, that's like one step. We'll see where they go from there. Let's check out Twitter. Zero Hedge says Rabobank getting a little ahead of itself. The $900 trillion stimulus deal, which Congress has agreed in principle is expected to contain a $300 a week in enhanced federal employment benefits. Oh, that would be nice. A direct $600 check. Aid for schools, support for vaccine distribution, and for small businesses. The House of Representatives could vote on the package today, with the Senate following Congress passed a 24-hour extension of the government funding on Sunday evening, laying the groundwork for a vote on the spending bill today. Wait, why are they getting ahead of themselves? Is there some other news piece since I've been seeing here? Did Yellen anxiety spark the biggest USD spike in 6 months? No, I don't know. U.S. Treasury blasts programming alert email Mnuchin to appear on CNBC at 9 a.m. So at the top of the hour. So is this worth an actual alert email from the U.S. Treasury? That is odd. Boris Johnson to hold live TV press conference later today on the COVID latest. It's 15 minutes ago. Yeah, I got a picture of Mnuchin with his on the phone. It's like, uh-oh, this is bad. This does concern me. Like, the fact that anytime we have any kind of a sell-off, like honestly, let me come back over here to the chart. I don't know if you guys are looking at the screen here, but I mean, come on, look at this thing. Look at this thing. Okay. Here was the depths of the pandemic way down here. And here's us way up here. Okay. Now it's a bad day. Don't get me wrong. It's a bad day. It's a really bad, really, really bad day. We could see a bit of a sell-off. Maybe, if we get even into this zone, hey, that would be, which moving average is that? That's like the 100-day moving average, right? Wouldn't be so bad. Wouldn't be so bad, right? And then we could bounce back up. It'd be fine. And the fact that it's like any day that things go badly, Mnuchin is on the phone. It's like, okay, like, how much money are you losing off of these? Because it's just a little crazy. Was this Anthony posting a little video link? Okay, that's a good one. Always be a student. Well, that's true. Jigsaw wants QA and support. Well, that's good. Jeffrey Gunlock tweets, I predicted Bitcoin would have a great year in 2020. I would not buy it here. Thank you, Mr. Gunlock. Okay. CME Group opened for Bitcoin, saw some aggressive buying. Yeah, I bet. But now they're probably very unhappy. Whoa. Tier 4 restrictions could remain in place until Easter, UK government admits from the Telegraph. Wow. That was 15 hours ago, that headline. Okay.
Pantax says, have you ever had to completely uninstall and then reinstall NT8V?
I've never completely had to reinstall. I tell you something, though, that happens to me from time to time. When your database gets really big, NinjaTrader starts to act weird. It seems to me that the database that they're using behind there just cannot handle like a really, really huge data set. So something that I have done from time to time is you come in here, here's like my file explorer, and I'm going to documents and NinjaTrader 8. And then there's two folders, there's cache and DB. And I just delete those, do it when, NinjaTrader is off. Delete those and then restart NinjaTrader. You will have to re-download all historical data that you have. But that has, on occasion, resolved some issues for me. It used to be, a long time ago, that you would get a lot of... oh, by the way, I need to turn my robots on. It used to be that you would get a lot of strange workspace issues, and so sometimes you had to, like, completely rebuild your workspace. But I haven't gotten that in a while, so... I don't know. You realize NinjaTrader is a very complicated application. So anytime you're dealing with something like that, you're likely to have some issues from time to time. That's why it's like, get your thing set up and then just like, don't touch it. But that's also why I think that it's actually a really great setup to have your charting and your execution separate, Have a really good full-featured DOM, but, even a full-featured DOM in the end is a fairly straightforward thing. There's no programming inserting into it or any of this other stuff, and so I can trust my execution platform in Jigsaw to always work. And then NinjaTrader, gives me a superior analysis, superior charts, and yes, it might keel over once in a while, but it's okay because I don't execute from that side, right? Now, if you do execute from the NinjaTrader side, then get your workspace together and don't touch it. Pandax says, yeah, that makes sense. I had issues with random crashes. Well, so another thing is if you get like random crashes, when you're saying like random crashes, like it's really just like everything's fine and then it just completely falls apart and you're not doing anything at the time, then I would take a serious look at your indicators that you've got on there and any custom stuff that you have and start like turning off custom indicators one by one and trying to find the culprit, because it's most likely something along those lines. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's this meme going around where it has a pic. Well, I can show you guys. It's not that bad. There's this guy and he's praying. And then there's some girl trying to tempt him. So they're saying me trying to short stocks, and then he's being tempted by Mnuchin on CNBC, says Zero Hedge. Elon Musk tweeted one of these earlier about Bitcoin. Oh, you say TSL, you mean TSLA? Tesla? Well, so technically it got added to the index on the close of Friday. Man, if you didn't watch that, I wish I should have streamed it, because that was some wild action. I actually kept the long that I had from the like I had like a YOLO long, something on excessive risk that I wouldn't recommend taking, and I just kind of held it, and it kind of bounced around break even for most of the day, so and a little bit lower. So I had basically just been scalping the range and moving my cost basis down. And then that last 30 minutes, they just took off, man. And Tesla had the biggest, like, all over the place move. I don't think I'll ever see something like that again. It was like Tesla down 10% and up 10%. It was nuts. You do have to wonder, though. Here's the thing. We're down today, I think, primarily because of these new lockdown restrictions in the UK. If this starts coming to the United States, like this could be bad, because I don't know, man. Just another wave of full-on lockdowns in the current situation just doesn't sound like a very positive thing to me. You know what I mean? But I kind of think that we might have been down anyways. Maybe not so extremely, but I was kind of expecting that there might be a little bit of a sell-off, just because anytime that we have a lot of gamma on and that gamma expires, we tend to pull back a little bit. And you got to remember too that the big driver in Tesla was all of this options activity. They're not going to be able to do that anymore now that it's in the S&P 500, right? So what is going to keep it going? You know, if Tesla falls below critical levels, do people just puke? I don't know. So I'm a little concerned about where that goes. And I'm a little concerned about, well, I don't know. Since we've fallen down so hard, that might make it a little bit easier for them to bounce, because you'll get short covering. But I'm also kind of look at the week and I'm like, if I was a big guy, like buying the dip, I don't know if I would want to put on a ton of risk right now. Whereas if I was a short, I would be like, hell yeah, let's get it on. Less liquidity, we can shove it, you know? But, neither of those things have to happen. So we'll just keep an eye on it. I'm going to get rid of these Kleenexes here. Silver is crazy. Well, yeah, gold got hammered, right? Actually, I need to pull that chart back out a little bit so we can see what's going on over there, because gold went like what, $100? Yeah. No, not quite $100. It was more like $50. Rabobank on the grim reality. Let's read this story from Zero Hedge. Congress may have finally agreed on a fiscal relief package, but this morning the markets have been unable to rouse the enthusiasm to push higher. The combination of overcrowded trades, the approach of year-end, and another wave of worrying news regarding COVID-19 have left stock markets mostly in the red overnight and futures trading lower. Only the Nasdaq futures mustering the energy to make modest gains. Oil prices are also under pressure, with the Great British Pound and the Rubini clear casualties among this morning's sell-off. Blah, 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 blah. This is like, oh, okay. I'm going to read this to myself until I find the part that's important. I guess they're not going. It's not your typical. This whole thing is from the Rabobank and analyst. And now this story is interesting to me, okay? The Russian ruble is a clear victim of rapidly escalating risk aversion this morning. Renewed virus fears and the cancellation of flights from the UK to numerous countries across has seen Brent oil plunge the most since October. Additionally, investors are also concerned that allegations of cyber attack will prompt the U.S. to impose another set of sanctions Russia once President-elect Biden moves into the White House. Trump has attempted to play down this news, suggesting that the cyber attack is far greater in the fake news media than in reality. This has led to accusations that the president has a blind spot when it comes to Russia. So here's what I don't get. So I heard from one intelligence agency guy, I think it was. We heard from like one intelligence agency guy that it was Russia, right? And they haven't provided any kind of evidence for that. And so you kind of have to wonder why they're so sure that it is Russia. And then Donald Trump comes out and he says, well, it might be China. So he's like, well, what does he know? Does he actually know something, or is he just, spitballing and saying that? It kind of makes you wonder. I do think he's correct, though, in that it seems to me that this SolarWinds hack is not as huge of a deal as it seems. So one is, yeah, these intelligence agencies were breached, but I haven't heard any information about what was taken or, that there's long-term effects from this. And the SolarWinds hack itself, it's a big hack. Don't get me wrong. It's a huge vulnerability in a lot of different places. Got taken advantage of. But like it's a fairly simple attack that they should be able to close, the hole. So and anybody out there in IT, I would hope, has plugged the vulnerability already. So the kind of what do we call it? I don't want to use the word deep state, but that the intelligence agencies bickering about this is kind of weird to me. Maybe not weird, but just a little bit unexpected, I guess. Because I thought that the hack would be like, oh yeah, this is awful, we need to improve our cybersecurity, and then everybody would forget about it. But then there's this whole other thing that's like, cybersecurity in the United States isn't very good, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, well, this has been a long time that we've been arguing over this. Trying to blame it all on Donald Trump is a little silly to me. But part of the problem isn't that we do such a terrible job so much as it is that is just a really large, almost insurmountable problem. Like, that we have so much vulnerable infrastructure in the United States and we're such a big target. There's only so much you can do about it, Anyways, market's pretty quiet here before the open. I bet you, though, that when morning comes, that there could be some crazy up in here. Yeah? Oh, I'm also hearing stuff about man, I tell you, another thing that really continues to frustrate me is the state of affairs over in the super pro Donald Trump community. So there has been the Donald Trump administration, or the campaign rather, has filed another injunction challenging the Pennsylvania laws, voting laws. And so a lot of people are saying, this will revive the Texas lawsuit and could overturn the results of the election. No, because when the Supreme Court rejected the Texas lawsuit, not only did they say that they didn't have standing, but they said that they basically said there's no way that you were going to get the relief that you're requiring, because they wanted them to like just completely throw out all of those election results. And I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think that if they ruled in your favor, that the best you could get is that those election laws would be rolled back for the next election. But I don't think that they're going to rescind a vote that already happened. But when you go over to the Donald, man, gosh, let me show you. If you come over to the Donald, this is like all they care about. Well, that and Donald Trump says be in D.C. on January 6th, because that's the time that I guess Congress would be, challenging the vote. But, here they're still just talking about rescinding of electors and all of this stuff. They're not giving up at all. They're 100% invested. Like, they have literally bet the farm on overturning the election results. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, you realize that you do all of this and you're going to lose the Georgia runoff, right? That's the fear I have. Okay, and then if the Democrats take that, then what are they going to do, right? Well, I bet you, I guess one good thing maybe for all of us is that we'll probably get even more stimulus checks. More than maybe just the $600 one. Maybe. Ace is looking to short. Yeah, that's fair. I think we kind of missed our good spot to short, but it's kind of in a spot that I think would be good for it. That is that if we get if it works out, you might have something that could run, right? Well, they were coming back up there, and then look, that thing fell easy. Treasuries, though, are pushing down. I don't know about that. And the dollar looks weak. Well, the dollar is trending down pretty hard. I think we should be careful about this. I was reading one of my books the other day because I was thinking about, I was complaining about, man, it seems like it's fighting me. And even if I'm taking equal risk reward, that I'll lose way more than I should in some situations. And it's like, it's doing the thing just because I did it. Well, I was reading a thing. I was reading one of my kind of more advanced books. And they're saying, well, how do you analyze this sort of a thing? And so the framework that they took to was they have to say, what was the predicted? What was predicted? What did the system predict was going to happen? And then when you see an order or whatever the thing is, what does your prediction expect should happen then? And then what is your actually observed impact? And that's the best framework that they have to do this kind of research on. It's kind of interesting. Sherman, several sources tell me that pens are down on the COVID funding deal, and they now are assembling a massive $2 trillion package into a drill. What? They're now assembling the massive $2 trillion. I thought it was only $900 billion. What does that mean? Wait, so does that mean that they are pushing forward on an even larger deal now? Let's look at Sherman's page, sure. No, text for 2 trillion plus coronavirus funding package is not expected to land until mid-morning. From the time text posts until passage is roughly 8 to 10 hours. I really think it is likely vaccines will protect against this strain. They're talking about the strain in the UK. I see. House Democrats plan to split the vote tomorrow into 2 votes, one on funding for Homeland Defense, CJS, financial services, etc., and another on the rest of the government funding and COVID relief. Okay, so I think that we're all talking about the same bit of stuff. And then here's this stuff from overnight that I don't think you really need to hear. Okay. Another little pullback here. That one's actually a long. Oh, you took a little short, a scalp short. But it's a little whippy. Yeah, well, our system kind of just switched along here. I'm just thinking there's a couple of good pivots above us. So if they continue this up move, in fact, I actually think I might need to move this up to there.
Ace Trades says first world problem. Can't find my dry erase markers to set up my news calendar.
Oh, really? I tried the dry erase thing, but I had to move to the chalkboard. It just didn't work for me. Okay, so some of the news squawks are retweeting the Jake Sherman thing now. That might be why the market's flipping around there a little bit. I read it to you as soon as I saw Jake Sherman's tweet on the tweet deck. Yeah, so just note here in the E-mini, liquidity not really holding either ways. It's you getting some slips back and forth here. So even though at the moment I'm able to hold really tight risk, once the market opens, I think it'll be really hard to do that. I did get 8 positive ticks though, so the Treasury taking 0.2. Pushing through a fairly big bid there. Oh, sorry. Who is Jake Sherman? Jake Sherman is a political reporter in Congress that has become so influential that his tweets move the markets, and almost all of the news squawks will retweet what he says. Jake Sherman on Twitter. He does Politico, and I think is it just Politico and NBC. I guess he's associated with more than one news outlet, but yeah, I took my 2 points. Maybe I can be disciplined enough to walk away. Are you going to take it both ways, man? Okay. Well, let's see if they stop me out here. Because we're starting to get some, like, trend continuation sort of stuff. And now it's kind of flattening back out again. So I think, though, with the way the treasuries are moving here, and the dollar, frankly, I'm still more in favor of a long here. Which is kind of funny, because when this started out, I was thinking, short, but then I had that little move up and a couple of different things said to me. Okay. Republicans desperate to avoid floor flight over electoral college vote. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be able to avoid it, though. That's headline from The Hill. Like a senator has already said that they're going to do it. So it's going to happen. And Donald Trump is having like the hugest rally ever during that time, too. It's going to be a huge mess, guys. Okay, so you see that? That was like 6 ticks up on almost nothing. So we're getting pretty good swings, yeah. So that took me out. We're getting pretty messy trades both ways here. So that's okay. I'm okay taking it -8 and then just getting out while it's doing all this nonsense. Probably would have been better to have gotten a better spot. Because where we took it was a little higher. As reindeer cannot see the color red, Rudolph's shiny red nose, it would be, well, just because they can't see a red doesn't mean that a red light would not help them navigate. They just might not see it as a different color. I don't even know who tweeted that. Okay, now up at the highs here. it's hard for me to determine at the moment if the amount of volume that we're seeing going through here is actually significant or not, or if it's just that the liquidity is so weak. Diminution on the box now. I think Forex Live Forex Live is quoting that wrong. We couldn't be pleased that we got this deal done in time. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it meant we couldn't be more pleased. Live venues get nearly what they asked for, $15 billion in dedicated funding for live venues, independent movie theaters, and cultural institutions per Dem leaders. Wow, that's so much. Yeah, okay, so somebody here on Twitter pointing out, Jake Sherman saying it's a $2 trillion package, but he's right, but they're combining the government funding and the stimulus, so it's really not $2 trillion. It's the stimulus itself is still $900 billion that they're talking about. Money from the COVID-19 aid bill could go out next week. Oh, what are we going to do with it, guys? I have your $2 trillion package right here. What should we do with it, guys? Put it in a trading account and sit on it and not do anything with it again? Sticks and Hammer 666 saying the video for tomorrow was the cringe-inducing $600 COVID payoff. Okay. I do kind of wonder, like, what are you going to do with $600? Like, is that really going to help anybody?
Ace Trades says buy Tesla, obviously.
You know, I knew somebody was going to say that, but I didn't think that it would be Ace. Okay, well, they are kind of still melting up here.
Uzi Knesset says spread it across some large cap DV stocks, lol.
Well, the thing is there's a couple of stocks that I've been kind of like watching, and it just never quite got to a spot where I felt comfortable taking them. The
Ace
YOLO
Trades
play
says,
worked out.
I still have $10 in Robinhood somewhere.
The $100 that we put in rare earth resources, that thing took off last week. I'd be very interested to see where it comes back to today. If all of that noise is done or what, you know? Okay, so this is, yeah. I could potentially try and take it as a continuation right here, but that's awfully tight. I think that I had the right idea. Maybe if I had taken more risk on it, like that could have worked out, but we wouldn't have gotten 40 that we were hoping for yet. So
Vlad Stolyarov says that should be bullish breakout if holds here.
Yeah, I agree.
Vlad Stolyarov says 40s need not fail for open if.
No, well, I didn't necessarily get the right spot there. Now they're going to come back on me. Yeah. I think I jumped on that one too soon. Scientists and MPs ask, where is the evidence of a 70% more contagious mutant COVID? Oh, that's a good question. What is the empirical evidence that tells us it's 70% more contagious? And if it's 70% more contagious, is it
Ace
as
Trade
dangerous?
says long at 49.75 because why not?
Oh, there you go. Because of why not? It's a late trade, right? We should have been back in here. 48.
Vlad Stolyarov says BC46 can flush out.
Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says I am still waking up.
Liquidity is still light. And there you go. So there's another sweep.
Ace Trades says 2 points for breakfast.
You know, this overnight is so
Ace
extended.
Trades says move my stop up.
Whew.
Lucas says nice.
Yeah. So let's just note that I would have gotten the 16. But I'm just
Ace
looking at
Trades
this
says
and I'm
it
like,
Lucas
oh, wow.
thanks.
This could go all the way up into this like 76 area.
Lucas says is it waffles or French toasts today?
Well, if we can do that, let's like give it a little bit more room, shall we?
Ace Trades says at Lucas lol, kids still asleep, no breakfast for hours.
And there's no school this week, right? Otherwise, I don't think that the wife would have let the kids stay up last night.
Ace Trades says belay that. Dentist appointment this morning.
Mm.
Vlad Stolyarov says gapping under Friday low on daily is very bearish and we don't need to recover if they let new bearish trend begin.
Well, here's the thing. The move overnight was so extreme. It makes me wonder if there really is going to be the what is the word, like the conviction to continue pushing on in the opening move. You know what I mean? Like, you might be a true trend change. It could be a true trend change, but if that's the case, I think that it would take a lot longer to develop, right? It'll be like, you know, pull back a bit today, tomorrow consolidate, you know, Wednesday move down again, something like that.
Vlad Stolyarov says Maeba.
But at the same time, when we get a move that big, and I mean, it really was like, what, 150 points overnight? The indexes do have a strong tendency to retrace it. And just looking at the positionings here and everything, I mean, with the liquidity, the way that it is,
Guido Sledden says it went down with the German market on new COVID stuff in Europe.
Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says 72.82 to watch if it wants to test previous stuff.
Right. The liquidity is so light that it kind of makes my positioning model a little questionable, just because so many more new people could be coming in
Ace
that
Trade says
the
it would
overnight
be nice
positions
to keep
might not
pushing
matter.
up. A big harvest on Monday would be a great way to start the break. Locked in 2 now.
Good. But when I look at the positioning, it says that we're clear possibly up to 36.80. So I feel pretty good holding this. I think it's time to switch these contacts out because it's starting to feel not so good.
Lucas says, do you have an average volume per session up?
No. So I don't know if you've been around while I've discussed this a lot, but basically what I'm doing is I'm looking at the candlesticks and I am doing a little bit of like strategic volume canceling. So like I'll look at all of the volume, but then I say, okay, if we make an assumption that this is buying and this is taking positions off, and then we make another assumption that this is selling and this is taking positions off, and then we take the average of the volume that we can't account for, and then where is that? So when we do that over the whole overnight session, the average seller position is about at 3680, which means that if we get a true bull trend coming back up recovery, 3680 is going to be like the initial target. Normally we're going to come up to 3680, go through it a little bit, and then maybe the sellers double back down if they really have the conviction and they try and move us back down, or if it's like a true reversal, then we're going to get up to like 3705 and above. So that's how I'm determining
Lucas
that.
says this sounds like market maker based study, right?
Yeah, it's very much based on what market makers would take. So there's limitations to that, right? Especially if people are hitting in with market orders, for instance, or stops. I can't account for stops. And like I was saying earlier, the situation that we're in with the overnight, there's so many more people that are about to come in that those positions might not matter, but they tend to go for the overnight positions. So like this 3680 is a spot that I've found that they have a tendency to go after. I haven't studied that one in particular, but
Ace Trades says this move up looks like it's over.
well, they did take profits up there around 55. You can see all of the bubbles there and stuff. I'm not sure if I would say it's over. It kind of looks like it's consolidating now. By the way, Treasuries took a pretty good move down off of that.
Vlad Stolyarov says another thing that was going on for like 2 weeks, we had no real trend.
I don't know. So like one of my robots, Reginald, is based very much on strong
Vlad
trend
Stolyarov
continuation.
says there was no momentum.
Strong trend continuation, and he did okay last week, so I don't know. I would say there was less trend last week than there has been. But I think that you might be saying that, Vlad, just because we've become spoiled. You know what I mean?
Lucas says, I'm sorry, what's that robot name?
Vlad his name is
Stolyarov
Reginald.
says especially on S. Vlad Stolyarov says low range days.
So here's my robots. There's Scott, Travis, Reginald, Sean, and Brandon. Reginald is the one that I have the highest hopes for, though. Reginald and Brandon. Sean is good too, but Sean and Brandon. Sorry about that. OBS disconnected for no reason. That's been happening on YouTube a lot lately. It's just, and it seems like it's just YouTube. Yeah, I gave them all nicknames so that I didn't have to have like, because it used to be like what the basis of it was and everything. But I wanted to give them
Ace Trade
code
says
names.
good old OBS.
Yeah, I wanted to give them code names so that, you know, I could refer to each one of them without having to worry about letting out how it works. And I guess I just have to reiterate that some of those robots, Reginald in particular, is based on something that, has worked really well this year.
What happened in late August. We had similar uptrend without volume, then biggest range day impulse down. September and all brokers had issues with data.
I remember that day.
Vlad Stolyarov says wonder what they rebalanced on Friday.
Well, I think the question over here on the balancing is will the value trades in Tesla take over? That's the question. Or will it be that retail just continues to want to be in it and holding it, you know? So there's some real I'm starting to notice real criticism, some serious criticism of like the traditional investment portfolio strategies. Essentially people saying that investing all of your earnings in the S&P 500 doesn't really make a sense anymore, because they're all companies that are has-beens essentially. Like, it requires too much success to get into the index, and so by the time you're in there, you've already missed most of the growth. And that there's so many places out there that you can find growth that you're better off trying to invest in individual names or investing in like Russell. I guess putting more into Russell makes a little bit more sense, but so then there's that group of people that say, well, Tesla being added, they're going to go down.
Robbins says Russell.
Yeah, the Russell. So, Brandon, the Russell is an index that has 2,000 constituents and is much more small cap companies. When the Russell rebalances, it's like the largest volume events of the year usually. Probably this Tesla thing was bigger this time, but usually when the Russell rebalances over the summer, that's one of the biggest trading days of the year, because so many companies get affected by that. So if you were looking for, smaller companies that are going to give you more beta but are slightly more risky, then you're going to go into the Russell. More beta meaning like that the amount that they tend to move on average is higher. I got that right. You're right. That's what beta is, right? Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has spoken with Jenny Yellen several times. Lockheed plans 1 billion share repurchase. I wonder at what point like Boeing and them are a good buy. Because I remember a very, very long time ago, Boeing not doing so well. And then I was like, well, Boeing is a big company. I'm sure that at some point they're going to come back. And then they did, quite strong. And then they had all of those screw ups and the pandemic and everything. And now it's like probably even worse than it was before. So I'm like, and I get the same feeling when I think about oil. Like, I look at oil. I remember at the beginning of all of this, beginning of the year, Gary was like, I don't know if the oil is going to be very good for a very long time, and I'm not so sure that you want to put money into it. And then they were kind of starting to come back this past week because oil's been doing okay and everything. But not today. Oil got clobbered today. And they're talking about the hack now. It looks like they're gonna take a shot at this pivot above us. I guess not. Too early to the open, I guess. Munger, is this Charlie Munger of Berkshire Hathaway fame? He says, we're in very uncharted waters. Nobody has gotten by with the kind of money printing now for a very extended period of time without some kind of trouble. We're very near the edge of playing with fire. Mnuchin, at this point, we have not seen any break-in to the Treasury's classified systems amid a hacking campaign against the U.S. Okay, cool. So they got in there, but they didn't find anything terribly important, is what they're saying. Treasury is just getting killed now. We're going to have to come in here and load previous day's levels to really get a clear idea of what's going on because of the degree of the move. We'll come and do it over in here as well. Okay. So in treasuries, we're up pretty hard, and they've retraced most of the move now by this point.
Ace Trades says 2 min. Ace Trades says come on OBS.
Did it drop again? I think we're okay. I'll reset this so that if I get more drop frames, I can see. But S&P 500 set to open with a 45-point decline. They do touch a slightly higher high here, though, just a minute before the open.
Ace Trades says yup for a second.
Yeah, and they only hit it. I got dropped again. I don't think it's OBS. I think it's YouTube. Well, I did update OBS, but I really don't think that's it. If it continues for multiple days, though, then maybe I'll start to wonder. Okay, Treasury's holding 28.5 at the moment. Okay, here's the open.
Vlad
Okay,
Stolyarov
initial
says
push is a
still
little
early.
bit of selling.
Vlad Stolyarov says I am gonna sit on my hands.
Yeah, the seller's coming out. Okay.
Ace Trades says out. Not going to complain about 5 points.
Okay. Something I watch, if we have a big sell, I always expect there to be a little bit of a down move on the open, because there's going to be people that were stuck in positions over the weekend that will just want to bail like first thing, right? So I think you want to like let those guys get out, and then look at that. See how the bulls do when they take it. So far, I'm pretty happy with what the bulls are doing with it. So,
Vlad Stolyarov says yes, that fun. Ace Trades says sim trade long at 57.00.
okay.
Vlad Stolyarov says let them fill gap a little.
Yeah, I still want to see them take out the overnight position. I think it'll take them a long time to do it, but I think that like 3680 is not unreasonable. Okay, now the Treasury hitting into 28, like, and 27.5 goes like nothing. So you can just imagine if you were a market maker with limit orders buy through here in the Treasury, right? You'd be a little frazzled, right? So they took out 28, and then at 27.5, they're like, okay, nah, I don't need any more contracts. First Squawk tweets, Tesla falls 5% in early trade. There's a little extension higher. That's maybe a little too fast, to be honest with you. Congress may finally be ready to address one of Americans' biggest healthcare headaches, surprise medical billing. Lawmakers say they will introduce a bipartisan bicameral agree. I don't know what is that. I've never seen that word. Bicameral agreement to stop the practice in this week's government spending bill. Oh, having two branches or chambers.
Vlad Stolyarov says Mnuchin saving the dip buying.
Today's word of the day is
Ace Trade says
bicameral.
bicameral. R2 Congress.
Gotcha.
Ace Trade says
y'all
the
have
House
to
and the
run
Senate.
around and scream. Y'all have to run around and scream whenever we use that word now. Oh, look at the cumulative delta on that move. That is nice. That is nice.
Ace Trades says England, House of Lords.
Right, gotcha.
Ace Trades says why didn't you challenge me to not be such a baby and take it live instead of sim? Lol.
Oh. Well, I don't, it makes me super nervous to even say things like even in joking to say things like that, because I don't want me to be influencing the psychology of other traders. You know what I mean? Not friends, at least. Like, all I could do is I could say, I see the overnight position up at 3680. I should have said the whole thing about probably they're going to sell a little bit on the open first, though. Because really, the real thing was that you should still be in it here with me, right?
Ace Trades says I know, I am the same. I always feel bad when I get followed into a bad trade.
We'll see. Usually I'm the one that gets out and you're the one that's letting it ride. So now you know how it feels to be on the other side. And you watch it and you're like, oh, it's still going. It's still going. And it's already gone up. So can you really buy it here? Like, is it really going to hold your risk if you just buy it at 36.63 or wherever it is? I don't know.
Ace Trades says where
No,
are you
it's not
long
live.
at? And is
I'm
it
not.
live?
I was long at 50.25. Which is frankly a little bit lower than I would have liked. The original trade where was the original trade? 36.46. But at that time I was only looking to hold 2 points of risk, and so that one didn't work out. But I got more favorable ticks than adverse ticks. I wonder what happens if you like increase. Well, I don't know. Nah, that probably won't work. So I've been doing a lot of back testing. I didn't do anything this weekend, but I've been doing a lot of back testing, and I've had these trades that, like, you know, it seems like there are some opportunities where they really, really run. But if you try and just like absolutely let them run, every time you try and let it run, it doesn't work out in the end. You'll get stopped out too often. But if I have like an exit, if I have like a certain thing that I'm looking for on the exit, then I tend to get most of my trades get out where they're supposed to. And then you get a few of them that do just keep going. And so that's nice, but I'm just like, there's got to be better ways to do this. Because then that depends on how good your exit is.
Ace
Or
Trade
if
says,
it's
yeah,
like
it's been a minute since I had a long, multiple-hour run.
Gotcha. You know, like entries or exits. Like in that case, it was entries or exits. And as an example, this trade that I'm doing right here, where it goes back to the overnight
Stolyarov
positions.
says cumulative delta lol. Lucas says off-topic question, what is the market schedule for this week? Is it half session for 24th and 25th closed?
Yeah, it's a
Ace
good
Trade
question.
says,
Now's a
but
good
it
time
looks
to go
good
look
right
at that.
now. There is 10 points plus.
Holiday calendar.
Vlad Stolyarov says Mon Tuesday is normal.
I'm pretty sure that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are normal.
Vlad Stolyarov says Wed slow day.
Okay, let's look at Christmas. Are they going to be here Christmas Eve?
Vlad Stolyarov says Friday, I think 1 p.m.
Let's look. Building an okay base here, just below the new high. Excellent. Okay. So Thursday, it looks like the Globex is, okay, Globex is closed on Friday. But anyways, on Thursday, that looks like an early close, right? Yeah, early close at 12:15. I'm assuming that's 12:15 noon. Okay. So basically they close at lunch. And then on these ones, it looks like that's normal, right? Then it looks like things go back to normal. Well, this could be interesting. I just remember like 2 years ago, you know, the winter
Lucas says,
trading
sounds
was
good.
so.
Thanks, slightly smiling face.
I remember we made a big deal over you shouldn't trade between Christmas and New Year's. And everybody was like, no, I don't think so. Like, it could still be good trading. And then that year ended up being when we had like that huge, crazy sell off, right?
Lucas says, lol, I know.
But so, you know, I kind of watched this and I started to be like, okay,
Lucas
well,
says,
they're
now
in a
it's so
spot.
different.
We're in a spot that seems like that there are some things that they may want to continue doing here over the next week, and they might try and take advantage of the lower liquidity. But like, how can you predict it? You know, I just don't actually know. I just don't actually know.
Lucas says I'd have to go trading.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Lucas.
Vlad Stolyarov says 88 ultimate if they keep increasing price. Tony says
88
172
ultimate.
to 16 next TGT.
Well, on the upside here, it's a little bit hard for me to. One thing I will say is that there are not really a whole lot of short stops.
Vlad Stolyarov
in
says I
terms
wanted
of
to short 72.82 if we bearish.
shorts that have gone short in the regular session. Like, nah, they've all already been screwed, right? So a bit of a pullback here makes sense. One concern that I have is that the range is so high that if they decided to do a real true full pullback, they could come back to basically my entry. So, but at that point, when you would have to, then you have to start to think about if they'll reverse and stuff like that. So, I know 36.64 was an area of support before. So, and there's this distribution between the two of them too, which is good to know.
Tony says 172 to 14 equals PPZB. Vlad Stolyarov says if bears take control right away 30's possible.
Well, I came back hard.
Vlad Stolyarov says depends on aggressive move now.
I would say it came back hard, but it wasn't actually like
Stolyarov
super
says
strong
58
cumulative
under.
delta. Right? Like if you look at the delta over here in the bottom of my screen, it's only just come back a teeny tiny bit when there's a lot of buying. Okay, so there's some iceberging here now. You might want to, that might be a good buy spot. Especially when you look at where it is in the profile. That's actually a little bit too obvious, in fact.
Vlad Stolyarov says 56 5 minutes moving AVG right now. Vlad Stolyarov says I would take my monies if long. Vlad Stolyarov says 76 ultimate on uptrend now.
I wonder where you get those numbers, but I'm still looking for
Vlad
3680.
Stolyarov says if they full shorts.
Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says channel.
Okay. Are you going to cross the moving average here?
Vlad Stolyarov says small channel up we having.
Yes, they do.
Tony says current session SWHG 173 to 15 ZB. Vlad Stolyarov says soon. Vlad Stolyarov says nobody cares TSLA 650. Vlad Stolyarov says short everything lol.
Wow, I don't know if Tesla moving down on its own necessarily has to push the whole index. Has an impact, of course. Okay, so they're still duking it out here towards the bottom of this profile. We've seen absorption there twice now.
Vlad Stolyarov says VIX has more impact now.
Probably, yeah. I'm gonna pause this for a bit. We're not used to those 60-point days. Well, I don't know. It's kind of funny that as big of an overnight move down that we've had, it actually doesn't seem that crazy to me. Okay, so it does look like they're about to do like the full pullback here. NQ back to low. Oh yeah, I'm noticing NASDAQ is taking it on the nose here, aren't they? Okay, so they're back to the open essentially. It's a nice sell. Oops, need to switch back over to here. Zero Hedge asks, is Bitcoin strangling the other cryptocurrencies? Well, the altcoins haven't had as big of a move up as they have in the past, have they? Although my garlic coin is doing okay lately. It's been doing okay lately. Okay, so they went and took out the average true range stop, and almost immediately they are pushing back up again. Although this pushback up just takes them back to the location of the initial absorption buying that seemed a little too obvious. It's kind of like a classic Wyckoff, wouldn't you say? Right? Comes down. Here's the absorption. So they go further, shake people out, come back up, and it would do something like that. Presumably, if it were to continue through on that pattern. Not that I'm saying that it will, but it's just an interesting thing to point out. David Rosenberg. So 1 Bitcoin buys you 500 barrels of oil, a Honda Civic, or a half a year's wage, but there's no bubble, sure thing. Well, David, the actual price of what one coin isn't all that particularly relevant. What's relevant is the price of it compared to the amount that's actually in the system. Where it's at right now, it's overdone. Resistance chop, yeah. Well, if this is going to turn out the way that I would like it to, it's probably going to take it a while, won't it? Just note, though, that all of that buying volume that came in on the open, it hasn't given up, right? The cumulative delta is still just kind of chilling there. If Tesla gets over 660, no shorting. So I do see some people trying to say that 3670 was rejected, essentially. I didn't read it quite that same way as a rejection, but how do you decide that something is rejected or not? Because they just trade away from it for a while? Or do you need to see some certain kind of order flow at that location? Anyone can win. Yeah, and I have to say, with the way that the flow has been going so far, a new high for this session would not be crazy. It would be like a 50-50, I would say, in fact. Vlad agrees with me, yeah. Let's see here. I'm seeing more members of Congress who say they'll wait the line for the vaccine and let frontline workers get it first. This is a DoD-led continuity of government effort. If a vaccine is offered but a lawmaker delays it for optics, it delays the end of this pandemic, says Sarah Ferris. Okay. Shake Sherman, it's also not as if the vaccine will go back to the general public. These were set aside for Congress and will remain for Congress. I see. Well, we can't let Congress get it. And I mean, I'm only half joking when I say that. Okay. So we're still kind of in a twisty area, but that would just push through the last pivot low there. And we're like breaking pivots like every other bar. Distribution of the vaccine is funny. If we pumped it into the 60 and older population right off the bat, the death rate for COVID would all but vanish, but old people don't produce, so we pump it into workers. I'm not sure if it's that simple, but I'm too lazy to do the math on it, right? I think there's still this problem of like there is a vulnerable population outside of 60 that they seem to be concerned enough about that. But I don't know. I'll tell you, the one that was crazy to me was there at that hospital where the hospital allocated it based off of age. And then that meant that the people that were actually like directly working with the coronavirus didn't get the vaccine. That one was like, what? That was like at a big hospital. I can't remember which one. But there was quite a bit of drama over that one. Okay, so just barely kissing that last pivot. Oh, actually, I guess they cleared it by like a tick. Now pulling back. Okay, so we got a minute to your European consumer confidence flash. We are below the open. U.S. Navy missile firing submarine enters Persian Gulf. Okay. Okay. So the consumer confidence is better than expected. 13.9 versus 17.3 tweeted by Forex Live. They're testing the open. They're testing, well, not the open, but the opening drive selling. They did get the cumulative delta to roll over a little bit, but it's still, compared to that open, it's not very much. Let's see them push the opening range low. We haven't gotten that low in the stops that would be associated with that yet. Definitely saw some bigger players working at some of these turning points here, right? Getting good amount of volume here. Okay, well, there's another confirmed pivot. Well, assuming the bar closes where the bar closes, but it's looking good. Oh, he's fighting it. Oh, that's interesting. Like, no, we're not done yet. You can't rotate here. Okay, well, I guess I should have taken the profits. Oh well. That's gonna hit that for sure. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Ouch. I'm still a little skeptical, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. And the problem for the shorts on this is going to be that you've got like the low down like 40 points lower, right? Tough. That's not what we want. That's definitely not what we want. Yeah, me getting these things where it's like it comes back so quickly that oh man. It's like as soon as I take it, they're like they come against me. Do you see that? Watch this. Watch this. Do that it was 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row that were bad. Okay, that one looks a little better. Oh. I have to take it there apparently. There's no support brokers that are falling. I don't know. The move down still doesn't seem like too insane to me. Like, I'm probably like in denial here, but
Like, so the last down pivot there was 36.2950, and they appear that they might be flipping on it. Okay. Okay. I don't know how I pulled that one off, but that was great. Cool. Reginald wants to go short. Oh, I didn't see that Travis went long back there too. But... Okay, I kind of see why he wants to go short, but the place that Reginald ends up taking it is actually a little bit random. Yeah, that didn't work out well for him, did it? I need a better direction filter on it because
He's a little slow. Frog's Live tweets, stock decline picks up steam. So I still see a good amount of long cumulative delta. You can't really see it on this chart anymore, but it's definitely there. Now Travis is trying to take it along. See, Travis is starting to see that there is some consistent volume coming in this way, but I don't know. So there's another RTH low. Oh, why is that there? Oh, yeah, because that was okay. Whoops. I don't know what happened there, but do you see that? It was like it put something out there and then it didn't. And then they immediately canceled. Okay. Oh, okay. Be careful outside in these conditions. Yeah, I am kind of doubling down here a little bit, aren't I? But I'm actually trying to keep my inventory quite low and just pick up a couple of little scalps in here. This is not going too bad. actually. This action is a little bit too wild. Okay, so they're taking out that pivot now finally at 30. There's a little cluster there. I don't know if this is what I want to see though. The Bears definitely made a lot more headway than we thought they would, didn't they? I think though, when I look at it, I still see that like the cumulative delta on this is not super high. There's actually quite a bit of action both ways, and it's kind of more that the bids aren't holding so much. So it seems like the market makers are treating this as a sell, like a negative skew, but not like panic sell. I guess I should also point out that we've had some points where they've had pivots and then they didn't. Like as soon as it appeared like the pivot was going to come out, they sold it aggressively to stop it. I guess I should point though that like that 3670 area that we turned around at, a lot of people seem to be like when I look on Twitter, I see a lot of people reading a lot into that. And I didn't think there was anything all that interesting about the area. So that's curious to me. Why that might be. Okay, well, that touch of the low is a little tepid. My robots didn't do so hot today, did they? This one lost one and this one lost two. None of them have won. Although Original did take a short. Seemed like his timing was just poor. End of year profit. I don't know if that's what we had a down day. I'm sure there's a lot of technicals behind it, right? Like just keep in mind if this pivots, I don't know. Like the thing is that there's still an okay bull case in here, right? Like if this pivots up, they could read this as a higher low because it's not even close to the overnight low. Vlad says, yeah, it's just wild volatile. Yeah. See, when I was taking it down there and I was like, well, it's a wild volatile. Usually that's bad. It does seem to be calming down and becoming a little bit more methodical as the uptrend starts to come back in here. So they did pivot on the 1 minute chart. And it looks like they're going to do it on the 5 minute chart. It's close. Lots of time left, though, for them to work it out. Live Action says, curious why new virus strains getting a reaction now. Old news from the UK. Also curious, Australia reporting first with CCP tensions. Well, I think the reason that it matters now, because you're right, I remember seeing something about a new strain like a week or two ago. I don't know if that's the same one, but I think the reason that this one matters is because London is imposing stricter lockdown restrictions as a result. That's definitely why we get in the thing. And I would add that I think it's kind of a combination of things, right? There's that, and the Brexit deal is not coming through. In fact, I think that some on the European side are saying that it's too late already. And then on top of that, you had the way that the markets was coming into it with all of the gamma that was on last Friday and Tesla being added to the index and all of that stuff, right? So I think it's a number of factors kind of conspiring together to create the day that we've had. All things being equal, though, which is to say, you know, barring any other like bad news, this doesn't necessarily have to be a significant turn, you know? Like, when I kind of look at these turns and you kind of are looking for like major turning points, and I can definitely see how you can look at the S&P 500 and look at last Friday and say, well, that's a pop off top, right? But it's pretty rare to have like a pop off top and then severe downturn the next day. When you get a severe downturn the next day, with as extreme as this one has been, the most likely outcome is that it will start to create short covering, right? Like, in order for a real turn like that to work out, you kind of have to have a situation where it's like it goes down, the buyers buy it, they don't get a whole lot out of it, and it goes lower on them again. You know, enough and to the point where the bears give up, because like there's this odd behavior about the difference between markets when they move up and when they move down. When a market moves down, it's much more it's much faster and crazy and everything, right? But bulls are not used to losing. So, you know, when it gets going, when the trend goes down against them, they then that's when they start giving up very easily. You know what I mean? Like, once a sustained downtrend comes in, it's like nobody wants to fight it. But here, we're not to that point yet. We're not even close. So it's like it could be a pop off top, but, you know, like I think that we were just going to have to see a lot more action to be able to know. How are you making out with your new microbook? So I am on the last 1/3 of it, which it sounds like is kind of the part of the book that the author was really interested in. So we'll see what I get out of it. It's really hard for me to read stuff like that, to be honest with you. Okay, that's interesting. That was very aggressive buying. That came in, by the way, like right off of the switch at the bottom of the hour. That could be a flip. Oh my gosh, Santa, is that you? What? This, you know what? That could, if this closes above, like, let's say 36.40. What was the level that you were looking at, Vlad? 47 or something like that? Bear's going to win if 46 rejects today. Okay, so 46 is a little bit higher up there, but Speaker Pelosi, in about 700 hours, Joe Biden will be president of the United States. Okay, you're counting it down by hours now. Okay. You say nice run by ZB second time around. Well, isn't it interesting that the treasuries have barely reacted to this at all? Perhaps that's another reason why I keep looking at this and I'm like, not that bad. Because I don't see like the flight. I don't see them moving to a different asset. Well, there are some big orders coming in here. Some 100 lots, apparently. Getting involved. This could be a key point right here. So it's like it pulled back, it started to get a little bit crazy on the upside, and now I see the big offers coming in. And I'm not 100% sure if those are really intended to be filled and sell. That might be, you know. So okay, it comes back again really hard. That's so weird. It's the way that it's done that like 3 or 4 times now. What is Donald Trump saying? Governor of Georgia and his puppet, Geoff Duncan, together with the Secretary of State of Georgia, are very slow on signature verification and won't allow Fulton County to be examined. What are these rhinos hiding? We will easily win the presidential Senate race. What the presidential Senate race? What is the presidential Senate race, Mr. Trump? Senate David Perdue will not be able to win on January 5th unless these people allow signature verification in presidential race. K and D need it for their race. Also, Georgia spirit will rise to such a high that they will easily bring home a great victory. This is so funny. He's trying to say that like we need to do this thing or we're not going to win, but then he's also saying, oh, we're going to win really easily. Like contradicting himself in the same tweet. I mean, you know that he doesn't really believe it, right? He thinks that if they don't do something about the signature verification that they're going to lose. What the hell is up with Beans, man? I have no clue, man. I haven't heard anything about that. Are they on a particularly crazy move just today, or has it been a kind of a more extended thing? Because we're definitely seeing some moves in the dollar, right? And I think that you would see, before this morning, it was like every commodity was moving up, right? Yeah, food is going to get expensive. I think so. I mean, well, let me back up. I think that there is room for a lot of commodities to get more expensive in the short term, but I think that there's a limit here. I don't think that we're necessarily going to see like crazy inflation come in like some people are trying to predict here, and I don't know. That's one of the issues that we got here is like it seems like this trade in the dollar is not sustainable. Like maybe we close the year lower from here, like maybe we close the year like below 80 or something like that, but in the meantime it's probably going to have to bounce back and there's going to be some panics from here and there, and today is probably a good example. That's where it's like, I don't know if today is the end of the world, but I think that today is enough to push us down, and maybe we consolidate a little bit today, and then if it really is a negative thing, we could see Tuesday, Wednesday be slightly bad, maybe over the holiday, and then maybe at the beginning of the year we push back up, And I think we might see that a bunch of times this year, because otherwise you get certain things like currencies move way faster than the market is able to really deal with, right? Sweden locking down country only for Swedish peoples allowed. Ukraine was expected to lock down in January. Well, I don't think that there is a single place. I don't think there is a single place where there wasn't some degree of lockdown. Like even in Sweden, like they socially distanced and everything. There wasn't a place that said, okay, if you're old, stay inside. If you're young, we want you to go out and get sick like now, and we want as many healthy people to catch it as we can at the moment. Like nobody said that. Like, there's a lot of interesting data, but there aren't actually some of the, like, the more extreme cases that you would really need to make the case that one strategy or the other is clearly more effective. That's why when you go and you do these studies, like they show, like they did a study on masks, and they said, well, it's maybe effective or it's maybe not, and it's slightly, the statistic is slightly tilted to that it didn't help. Oh, we did that. Well, yeah, but that's the thing, is like, you're saying that that's what you did, was you tried to get everybody to get it. Oh, that's interesting. And did it work for that area? I'd be interested. But that would be too small of a sample, wouldn't it? Like, one of the things that really irks me is that the places that people say, hey, see, look, like we locked down and it works, are like, you know, New Zealand, like this island in the middle of nowhere. It's like a different thing. Europe locked down really hard, didn't work out. California locked down really hard. It's one of the highest, it's one of the highest number of cases areas right now. It makes robbing banks easier, I guess. If another set of lockdowns came to the United States, I think that it would be really devastating. Like, I've done okay through all of this. I'm pretty happy with how we've been able to handle things. My wife hasn't been working, so we get to spend a lot of time with the baby. And we still had plenty of extra to do some discretionary things, you know? Is that what the right word is? Discretionary? I don't know. Anyways, it wasn't super tight. But if we have another set of lockdowns, then I start to wonder, like, okay. Of course, she could have been working through this whole time. She hasn't been working because of maternity leave, so the whole thing is interesting. Like, if they extend the unemployment benefits, I wonder if she would take voluntary leave then at that point and take the unemployment again, or what her options are. I saw a Swedish report on all the problems they're having from immigration. Some are probably welcoming lockdown. Oh, man. When you talk about Sweden and immigration, that's an issue where there are different people in Sweden saying different things about that, and it's really hard for an outside person to really ascertain what the truth is. Well, they've been chilling in this area for a while now, haven't they? So I maybe should have been spending more time on this, trying to build out a position rather than waiting for it to bounce back harder off of the pivots, because it hasn't confirmed it yet. Belgium to extend travel ban from UK for another 24 hours is going to be way longer than that, right? We have to crush the new version of the virus, guys. I believe in vitamin D and herd immunity. There you I don't know if I've been getting enough vitamin D, man. I sat on the couch the other day for quite a bit yesterday watching, like, my stepson hadn't seen any of The Mandalorian, and we were going to watch the last episode because we had been watching with my parents, but we couldn't do that this weekend. So we had to catch him up, watch the whole 2 seasons over again and then watch the final episode. By the end of that, though, it was like the final episode wasn't as great. I think that that show is better if you're just watching it 1 episode a week. I digress, though. But, I opened up the curtains on, and there was cloudy, so it wasn't direct sunlight, but it felt nice. It felt positive. Okay, so there's 2 pivots taken out right there. That's good. Okay, so I definitely see 60 and 70 as an area. And then there's a skip up to 80. Okay, so let me come back over here. Yeah, I see that. So, This is a really interesting move. It seems like that the buyers bought on the open and just held the downturn. And you can look at the way that I've been doing it. I've been building out a position and it's got me along from 36, 31 and 3/4. And, you know, I could hold on for quite some time if I need to. The silly dip buyers don't know winter is coming. I don't know, man. I mean, if the sellers are able to make another big push down and the sellers ultimately win, then that's going to be pretty ugly, right? But wow, that one was almost perfect. I'll card the wall with you. Okay. Is it going to turn back up again? Just should note that we still haven't gotten a positive pivot. Close. Oh, actually, yes, we did. We did. Based on pivots, we're still in an uptrend. What? Win or lose, Citibank's battle to recover $500 million from an accidental payment is sure to prompt a review of internal controls in the industry. Wow, $500 million you accidentally sent out? What? That's crazy. Do you think everybody's going to be trapped? Man, you really want to just short this thing for... I don't know, like I'm long here and everything, but I'm not necessarily going along like saying that overnight low is going to hold for sure and we're going to bust back up to the overnight to the opening range high. It could happen. The possibility is definitely there. The moment I'm just trying to take the tape, and you can see how many times I've been able to get the 2 points pretty easily. They might make a run for those pivots and push a higher high here. I mean, that's some pretty positive buying there. It didn't really break out in cumulative delta-wise, though. That may be one problem, is if the buyers really have the oomph to get up there. On the other hand, there are certain spots that if they start getting above, you know, like this 42 area, it's probably the best example. If they're able to get above 42, there'll probably be a lot of short covering. Five minutes was a normal call. Yeah, that's true. You know, they never came back above the ATR stop, for instance, which again is at 36.41. 36.42, let's call it. And again, the treasury is still chilling down here, right? And the dollar hasn't moved anywhere. Well, if the dollar starts rising again, the dollar could pivot back up. That could cause some trouble. So let's just note that if the dollar starts flipping on us, Okay. My guys on my new Squawk have gotten a louder microphone. It's too loud. Okay, well, this is starting to become extremely subdued, isn't it? Like, when I look at my pivots, we're forming a pivot on a 1 minute chart, like every other bar. It does look slightly skewed positive. Like, since the lows, we formed one, including the low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pivots below us. Whereas going up to the high, there's 1, 2 that we formed, 3, which is kind of more the major one, 5, which is halfway through the big downturn. I think that means that the potential reward is much more on the upside at this point. Okay, so there's one. Oh, I take that back. They just equaled it. Speaking of flipping, that is one thing forgiving an ES when on the wrong side. So what? A little come back and give you an exit, maybe. But that's the thing that's so frustrating about it, is that it's not like it. Well, like in the treasury, like every move that I see in the treasury seems like a significant move to me, right? Every move in the S&P 500 looks like noise to me. Okay, so they took out those two. So it's still, well, the pivot is at 43.25 actually. So got ATR stop and a pivot. And then gadoosh. So I got the Zero Hedge subscription, and you don't get a whole lot of stories and stuff from Zero Hedge. You do get like the news squawk, but it's like delayed, and yeah, news squawk 5 minutes delayed. But they post some charts, and some of these charts are super interesting. But they were just pointing out that normally there's like a year-end rally. But if you're going to rebalance your books right now, it's super tough because the liquidity is just not there, right? So here's another reason I think that the consequences of the action that we've had this first hour, 90 minutes or so of trading, it's difficult to determine what the consequences of it are, because the liquidity is light. So you're getting a lot of volume coming through on both directions, apparently, based off of the cumulative delta, that you know that there are market orders there, but for what reason? And since the liquidity is so light, you can't really use the degree of the move to really make any conclusions, right? Like if I could point at the liquidity and say, well, the liquidity pulled because of this London pandemic sort of thing, but I don't think that that's the case. Or let me rephrase that. If there was like some skew to the liquidity, which there's not. Well, maybe there is, because if there is a skew to the liquidity, it favors the buy side, isn't it? Because, well, no, I take that back. If there's a skew to it, it favors the sellers, because the cumulative delta was equal, but it came down. That means that that the buyers are pulling more than the sellers are. But it's both sides are pulling a lot anyways. Ask yourself why the Fed is bidding euros. The Fed is bidding euros? Barr says no plans to appoint a special counsel before he leaves. Yeah, of course not. Okay. Top warp speed scientist says a very unlikely new COVID-19 variant will defeat vaccine. Can only hope. Well, that means watch out for a headline here in the coming week that says new study shows vaccine protects against new COVID-19 variant. And the market will just be like, yeah, get it on. Okay, so we're about to pivot high there. Now's probably a good time to come over here into Fidelity and look at what the damage is. Oh, wow. So VIX at some points overnight was above 30. Wow. Wowza. I don't know, Vlad. Like, I'm looking back on you, like, talking about where Tesla is and everything, but, like, Tesla would have to get below like 620 before I would really be like super excited about it. I think, wow, look at rare earth resources extending its move again today with another 20% up move. Wow, oh wow. Now to $1.15. Well, remember when Gary was like, yeah, they're not going back to $1 again? Because we took it somewhere back in here. But the situation was very different back then. I am a little concerned about this just because it's like, it's a retail rush. But I'm starting to wonder if this doesn't turn into like the next. I'm starting to wonder if they start talking about rare earth resources the way that they talk about like Neo and all those, right? And let's see here. MP is up pretty good too. 5 not as high as my rare earth resources, but what about some of these other ones? Cold has taken it a little bit down today. Ugh, just like what I thought. So there's this one. I will show it to you now because it's kind of a little bit past. But remember we were talking about there's a stock that looked like a pump and dump to me. So when I looked at it, it was here. Was where that line was. So then it opened that day and I was like, oh wow, you could have made a little bit on it, but it came back the next day. And I said, well, that looks like the start of a head and shoulders pattern. And sure enough, you're getting this. So I bet you that they come back. But then is it actually going to come down like that? I'm not so sure. But this will be a great example of where a chart pattern maybe doesn't help you. You know what I mean? That on one side, I'm like, I should have put more into rare earth resources, but then on the other side, I'm like, no, it was totally fine because if this was up and I was up like, you know, $300 a day instead of $30 a day, that would be a little bit too much. That'd be a little bit too much beta in my portfolio. Now, that said, oh my gosh. So, even though we've had a very bearish day today, everything in my portfolio is up. And not just up, but up a lot. So like Goldman is up 6% today? Really? Probably because of the whole dividend thing, right? That is crazy. Yeah. I probably should be more invested than I am though. Like it gives me like my total gain loss and it's a 55% gain, but I am only like 50% invested. So it's really over the whole amount of capital I have, it's really only a 20% gain on the year. For something that's up like what? What is the percentage on gain year to date on the S&P 500? %30. Oh, no. It's up 15% year to date. 2019, it was up 30%. Oh yeah, because there was that whole December nonsense. Yeah, okay. Right, it was 2018 was down, and then because of that, 2019 started out really well. Right. Okay. Well, we got through your 46, Vlad. Where's the open again? It's 55. We're not getting crazy positive cumulative delta off of this yet. This whole thing is so interesting. I'm going to say, told you the market never goes down. Ah! But you wanted to sell it. You wanted to sell it. Hey, look, don't look at, you know what? I am looking at this right now and I'm kind of going like, okay, so I seem to be doing really well at the moment. Of course, there was some problems earlier. Let's not forget that I did try buying that and buying the dip and got run over a number of times. But a number of times where I didn't get any favorable excursion too. Like I bought, sold, and then I was like, okay, now it's fine. But the portfolio is doing well. This is coming up, and I don't know. It wasn't like I was sitting there like, well, this is going to come all the way back up. But I'm just letting it run, and so like I'm doing well when I really shouldn't be, right? Like I really shouldn't be. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I need to take a break. I'll be right back. All right. Wow, Chewy and kind of mad about 3640 put lotto tickets for weekend protection at the Friday close. Really? Interesting. And then sold them Sunday night after no downside. Oh, dang. So he had the puts and it didn't do anything. So he got rid of them and then it fell. Oh, I would be so pissed too. I tell you what, that Chewy guy, he's taking some trades that I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he does hold stuff into the weekend. But he's also gotten some trades that are like, holy shit, dude. Some good trades. Okay, so we are now to buyer's cost basis. So now the next move would be 3662 would be, well, that would be quite a bit up though, wouldn't it? Oh, sweet. Okay, I have to look at that. This is a top secret program that I'm interested in, and they let me into the beta. I could be able to try it today. But I think it's top secret. I don't think I can show you guys. Play the game, find the weakest index. I don't know, man. Like, liquidity still pretty difficult. Okay, so the EU is, I'm just saying here again, December 23rd is the least realistic date to arrange provisional application, as it too requires legal procedures. Either way, by rejecting provisional application today, the UK is effectively guaranteeing a period of no deal on January 1st, with the EP ratifying later. So they're saying that even if they come to a deal, there's going to be a period where there's no deal. So we knew that, but now them saying it, that might be like a reality dawning on some people in the UK. Hopefully, though, we've only got about 15 minutes until the London markets close, so hopefully that doesn't affect us over here too much. They should be able to shrug that off. And like I said, I think a lot of that was probably already priced into the sell overnight. Man, the Donald Trump fans are going to be so mad at Barr. I see no basis for now seizing voting machines by the federal government. I'm not going to opine on whether Donald Trump can pardon himself. Jeez. So Goldman Sachs being at 250 is kind of a big deal. I'm just thinking about this, like the chart in my head. Like I haven't even seen the chart, but I know that chart so well. I know that 250 is like, that's like really good. I'm just a little shocked at how well my portfolio is doing today, considering that we came in, because I was coming in and I was like, oh, let's look at the damage. I didn't expect these to all be up, and not just all up, but all up big. Yep, GS and JP Morgan are allowed to buy back shares was Friday's news. Exactly. Yeah. So I was saying, so it's clearly it's because they're going to be allowed to do a dividend again, which is good, which is great. Should we look at the chart? All right, let's pull the chart up. We'll use this one over here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh. No. I have to go back further than 2 years, don't I? Yes. Okay. So here's the chart of Goldman here. So just note that they had like, so here was when it was like everything is going great and this is high, and I was thinking like 320 or whatever it is just be around the corner, and I should have sold it. And then when this came down, and this was the a combination of both the 2018, late 2018 decline is this thing right here, right? It was a combination of that and also the big fine that they had, right? The big fine that they had. And then we had this run, and then here's the pandemic. It's actually, I remember looking at this and like, oh, they went lower. That sucks. Should have bought more. No, I'm just kidding. So now it was always here though. It was always this kind of area right here, right? That it was like 240, 250 area where they have a hard time getting out. So for them to have the dividend back and to be being bought up above 250 on such a strong up day is really encouraging from a technical perspective on the chart. And let's make them candles here. Make it a little bit easier here to see with the candle. Okay. The chart looks great now, right? Ding, 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 ding. Hope I'm not dropping some frames here because it's been kind of chuggy. Okay. If that didn't work. Anyways. Active Trader Pro. Not the best platform if we're honest. Just I gotta be honest. Not the best platform. Kind of sluggish at times. Kind of, yeah. Anyways, I didn't like being full screen there is what the problem was on that one. Anyways, so Treasury is still kind of pushing down. And E-mini taking another little ride up there. I don't see... Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they do when they get back to the open, but I wonder if they're going to try and test it back the other way now. Breaking. Whole of EU imposes travel ban on the UK until midnight tomorrow. Oh, aren't you so glad that you're not like all one country, huh? Now you can block off the UK. Because if they were still part of the European Union, they wouldn't be able to do that, would they? Well, maybe they would. I don't know. Trucks and lorries will be exempt from the EU travel ban imposed on the UK until midnight tomorrow. Alligator says bad news flow today. Has Tesla's been added? That's done. It's over with. They're down 5% because ain't nobody else want to buy it. You think it's going to continue? Or you think they're going to go back up? Let's watch. I bet you like next earnings. When's their next earnings? Okay, Tesla earnings. It's going to be like in January, right? The 29th of January. No, wait. That was this year. 2021. January 28th and February 1st. Oh, okay. They haven't announced a date yet. That's based off of historical earnings. All those option buyers are going to be like, why am my stock not flying to the moon again? Well, I would hope that I don't. According to the data that we have, that probably not as many of those people out there today, right? I know most newbies. Really, they wanted 700. Well, you know what? In my opinion, here's the thing that's crazy about it to me is like, if you bought this thing with the trade being that it's going to get added to the S&P 500, then the day that it gets added to the S&P 500, you exit. You should have had your sell order set to market on close on Friday, right? I am certain of. What it does from here, I don't know, but I'm certain that that's like the thing happened that you wanted, then you're done. You need another, to stay in that, you need another fundamental theory about what's going to happen that's going to keep it going up, you know? Live action, did you delete my link? No, I did not. Wait, did you post a link? Ah, that's so weird. No. Can you give it to me in Discord? That's so weird. Maybe you are. Well, I mean, other people can post links, right? Unless YouTube changed it. I haven't seen anybody post any links today. But you're still listed as a moderator, so you should be able to do it. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, you might have been. Yeah, okay. Maybe you were shadow banned. I mean, you should still be able to. I mean, I can see you. That's so weird. Yeah, send it to me on Discord. Discord's a better way for me, because the thing is I can't, you know, if you give me a link over here, I have to click it immediately then and save it. Whereas if you give it to me on Discord, I can go back and keep going back and finding it easily. So it's easier to do stuff on Discord. Well, I'm thinking about bragging about how I'm up today when the market's down, but like I probably shouldn't do that. That probably would end in a bad for me, huh? I've done that one before. Just the instant you're thinking, oh, I'm so good at this shit. And then like, you know, comes back. You think that Goldman can keep those gains, or do you think it's just going to like jump? Hey, so let's come in here. Let's look. Oh, you know, it is time for me to go. I'll go look on Wall Street Bets, see if anybody else is doing anything with it, but it's time for me to go. So we should call that. We should call that. I don't want to short into lunch. Well, yeah, it's coming into lunch. The way that it's gone kind of makes you think that the sell was just kind of like just like I said, don't you think? I read that one really well. I mean, I don't know if it really helped all that much in picking a spot down there, but I think I read the order flow really well there. Yeah. Is that overreaction, low liquidity. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.